Season 2 of DaBearsDen Network is officially live. It's predictions week. Let's jump into it. What is going on, everyone? Welcome back into DaBearsDen, an NFL podcast with a Chicago Bears first focus. I'm your host, Alex. We are here, Season 2. Let's go. This is going to be a fantastic year for the channel. It's going to be a fantastic year for the NFL. And I hope that it's going to be a fantastic year for our Chicago Bears. With that being said, the regular season starts next Thursday. We are just a little bit over a week out, and I could not be more excited. It was a fantastic preseason. The Bears finished 2-0-1, and since we're so close, we're going to go ahead and start the predictions. And today, I'm going to be predicting the AFC and the NFC East, how I think the teams are going to finish, and super excited about this video. Super excited about all of the content that's going to be coming this year. This is going to be a fantastic year of growth for the channel. So if you are new, if you are into football, go ahead, drop a like, and most importantly, hit that subscribe button. Join the family, join the community. We're talking football all season, all year long. So get in here, let's do it. This is going to be a fantastic year. So many great games to look forward to. Let's get into it. I'm going to start with the NFC East first today. And this is an interesting division, right? Many people think that the NFC North is the strongest division in the league. There's a case that, could be made for the NFC East being the tightest division in the league, right? I think that there's, uh, all four teams have a chance to do something really interesting this year. In fourth place, though, this might surprise some people, the Dallas Cowboys. I think that this has once again been a very disruptive offseason for the Cowboys. This whole Jerry Jones, Micah Parsons ordeal has been going on for months now, and it's really kind of reaching this point where media and people are starting to question if the relationship will even be repairable, right? This past weekend, we saw Michael Parsons laying on a medical table during the game, was the only teammate not dressed. And, Jerry Jones is coming out here basically multiple times a week, kind of taking shots at Michael Parsons. And it's just really interesting to me because Michael Parsons is the best player on the Dallas Cowboys. He's easily the best defensive player, and they really don't have a chance to win without him, excuse me. And so just mind blowing that Jerry will not pay him. We've seen him do this countless times before with Dak and with CeeDee Lamb, kind of this contract game. But with Micah Parsons, this is taken a different turn, and it's reached a point now where they play next Thursday night. They are the opening game against Philly. Even if the contract were to be signed right now, today on Tuesday, 9 days out, Mike is not going to be ready to go. He's not going to be full strength. He's not going to be able to play the entire game. So it's just, without him on the field, with Matt Eberflus as their defensive coordinator now, they have no chance without Micah Parsons to do anything. And, as a fan, I would like to say I don't think this is going to go on the entire year. There's a chance that it does, and Micah doesn't play a single snap for them this year. But I just think that with how tight the division is, with how good the NFC is, especially like the NFC North, there's not a lot of playoff spots that are open and up for grabs. And the Dallas Cowboys are a team that needs every single game. You throw a game away week 1 against a division rival, you're already 0-1 in the division. You're 0-1, and you're in a hole, and you don't have your best player. So I think Dallas is going to finish 4th. Not a huge fan of Dak. I just think he's kind of an, average to below average quarterback in this league at this point in his career. And Matt Eberflus is calling the defense. The Schottenheimer hire was interesting. There's obviously some potential there, like there always is with first-year head coaches, but we'll see about that. I just think Dallas is going to finish 4th. At number 3, this is going to surprise some people as well, the Washington Commanders. Now, for those that were here last year, and for those that might be new, you might be unaware that I predicted the Washington Commanders to make the playoffs last year. Obviously, we know what they did with Jaden Daniels. They went to the NFC Championship game and, ultimately lost to Philly, who would go on to win the Super Bowl. But Washington had a really great year last year. I think this year, Jaden Daniels is going to come back down to earth a little bit. Obviously had a fantastic year. But remember, where we were at a point last year with CJ Stroud, right? Everyone was saying CJ Stroud's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He can't be stopped. The game looks so easy for him. And we saw what happened year 2 with CJ Stroud. He took quite a step back. And obviously his team had injuries and things like that, but that's part of the game. I think that the Commanders are going to take a step back. They obviously signed Terry McLaurin to his extension yesterday, so they get that kind of issue resolved. But I don't think that that changes much. I think that Jaden will come back down. They were in, I think, 7 or 8 one-score games last year, and it wasn't just one-score games. It was odd how they were winning some of the games. Obviously, we know about the Hail Mary, um, and you know, there were many other games that were just very, very close that came down to one single play. That is going to be extremely difficult to be replicated. And I think that the team will find themselves in close games again this year, in one-score games. And I think that they're just not going to be able to win all of those like they were last year. And so I think they're going to, take a step back. So I have Washington finishing 3rd in the NFC East this year. At number 2, I have the New York Giants. Look, the Giants are a sneaky team this year. You might think I'm crazy, but when you have arguably the best defensive line in football with Abdul Carter, Kayvon Thibodeau, Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, that defensive line alone will win the Giants some games, right? There's going to be offenses, below average to bad teams that they play that aren't going to be able to do anything, and they're going to be racking up sacks. And when you have a defensive line that good, it takes me back to the 2018 Bears, who had brought in Khalil Mack. When you have a defensive line that can get pressure like that, it makes a secondary so much better. And the Giants secondary isn't the best, but when the opposing quarterback's going to have to get the ball out of his hands super quick, earlier than he wants, he's going to be thrown off schedule. That's going to lead to interceptions for this secondary. And so I think the defense is going to be extremely, extremely, extremely strong. I drafted them in fantasy. I think that they're going to be really good for fantasy, right? If you have a fantasy draft coming up, take the Giants defense. I think, they're going to be racking up sacks and causing a lot of pressure. And they obviously improve their quarterback room, right? Russell Wilson is an improvement over Daniel Jones, right? It might not be a huge improvement at this point in Russell's career, but it is. They also have Jameis Winston, and then they obviously have Jackson Dart, who played very well in the preseason, who's a rookie who I would expect to get some time in the middle to the back half of the season. Giants are better on defense. They're better on offense. They're going to have better quarterback play, and they have a desperate coach who needs to win this year. They're going to be aggressive. I think that the Giants are sneaky team to watch out for. They could be, last year's Commanders. I don't think the Giants are going to reach the NFC Championship game per se. I don't think that's very, very unlikely. But I think that they could be the NFC team that kind of comes out of nowhere that a lot of people didn't expect. I like the Giants to be frisky this year. They're going to have some big upsets. Giants finishing number 2, and obviously that leaves Philadelphia finishing 1st in the division. Look, when you have Saquon Barkley, when you have Jalen Hurts, when you have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, when you have arguably, one of the best, if not the best offensive lines, and you have a really good defense, they're going to probably win the division. Now, there has been no repeat winner in the NFC East for the last 20 years. Eagles won it last year, so that would put an end to this streak. And I think it's time for that streak to end. I think Philly is just too good, barring some sort of drastic injury. I just think that they have a very clear way of winning the game. They're going to lean into the running game with Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley. They're going to control the clock. They're going to control the line of scrimmage, and then they're going to go play tough defense. And it's going to be really hard for a lot of these teams to do anything. And so their roster is just too strong. I don't think there's going to be a Super Bowl hangover. And I think that they are going to really be one of the powerhouses in the league, not just the NFC. So in the NFC East, I have the Dallas Cowboys finishing last, the Washington Commanders finishing 3rd, the New York Giants finishing 2nd, and the Philadelphia Eagles finishing 1st. Let's go ahead and let's jump over to the AFC East. All right, in the opposite conference, we are going AFC East, and there's a lot of talk about the AFC East this year, a lot of exciting teams, a lot of movement. In 4th place, I've got the Miami Dolphins. There's a lot of chatter, a lot of talk coming out of Miami right now, right? Is head coach Mike McDaniel on the hot seat? It's possible. what's going on with Tua and Tyreek Hill? There's some beef going on right now. Can that be resolved? Is that going to, excuse me, is that going to lead to issues on the field? We will see. Can Tua stay healthy for an entire year? Obviously, we know what happened last year was not great. Miami was okay when he was on the field, but when he's not, we know that they are not a real team, essentially. Can they play tough football? You know, Chris Broussard of First Things First, has one of my favorite analogies regarding the Dolphins. Kind of, he says that they're break dancers. They don't really play tough football. They're kind of just all about speed and finessing, and they're break dancers. And I think that's a perfect way to describe Miami, right? It's a pure timing offense. They rely on speed with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and Achan. Can they go and play tough football against tough teams because they are in a tough division? We'll see. Can they win in cold weather? Obviously, we know the Dolphins' record over the past few years has been absolutely atrocious in cold weather. Obviously, they're going to be traveling to Buffalo. They're going to be traveling to New York. They're going to be traveling to New England as well. Can they get over that kind of challenge that they've faced over the past few years? I just don't think so. I think it's going to be a rough year for the Dolphins, and there's a chance that Mike McDaniel does not finish the season as their head coach. I like Mike McDaniel. I think he schemes a great offense. I just think that there's a little bit of a mismatch there. Obviously, Tua can't stay healthy, but when Tua is healthy, even when he is, if Tua is thrown off his game, if he gets knocked off his timing a little bit on the play, that's when disaster strikes for the Dolphins. And so I just think it's going to be a rough year for them. I've got them finishing 4th. And number 3, I've got the New England Patriots. A lot of the national media, a lot of people are very high on the New England Patriots. And look, Drake May was all right last year, right? He wasn't anything special, at least in my opinion. He was all right. He's shown some flashes. They're going to have a coaching bump from Mike Vrabel, right? I think that's going to be huge. I think that bringing in Stephon Diggs is a coin flip, right? What version of Stephon Diggs are you going to get? Are you going to get the star, or are you going to get the locker room cancer, right? I think there's a world where for the first half of the season we get star Stephon Diggs, and then if the Patriots start to struggle, he could potentially be a problem, right? Which that's a risk you take when you bring in a guy like that to be your wide receiver 1 for your second year quarterback. But if things go according to plan, their offense is going to be dangerous, right? Can Drake May have a second, a solid second year? Can he show even more growth? Can he become the quarterback that it seems like much of the national media believes he can be? That is for us to see, right? I think Mike Vrabel was a good coach. I think that he's a touch overrated right now. I think that, obviously he had some good years in Tennessee, but he also had some bad years in Tennessee. And the way that people are talking about Mike Vrabel coming in, it's like Vince Lombardi was hired for the Patriots. It's like, a prime Bill Belichick was brought in, and I just don't think that's the case. I think that they're going to be better, but I don't think they're going to be making the playoffs. I think that they're probably a year or two out. I think the roster still has some pretty big holes, but obviously improve the offensive line. They brought in Stephon Diggs. They will be better. I have the Patriots finishing 3rd. In second place, I have the New York Jets. Look, the Jets have been thought to be good for the past couple years, right? They have a pretty good roster. Their defense is pretty good. Excuse me. And obviously on offense, they got great weapons in Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson. You bring in a quarterback with Justin Fields, who has yet to hit his potential, has shown flashes of being a great quarterback in this league, has also shown some flashes of struggles in this league. Which version of Justin Fields are the Jets going to get? We will see this year, but I think the running game will improve. Justin Fields, obviously one of the better running quarterbacks in the league. That will open up Breece Hall. And then the defense, I think the roster was pretty good. I think they're going to get a coaching bump as well with Aaron Glenn. First-year head coach. We'll see how he does overall, but the defense should be better. This is a roster that people thought with Aaron Rodgers was good enough to make the playoffs. I think that we could sit here and debate Aaron Rodgers at this point in his career versus Justin Fields, who's better. I just think that the Jets should be better than New England, and I think they're going to be better than a struggling Miami team. I don't have the Jets making the playoffs. I think it'll be close. I think that the last quarter of the season they could be kind of fighting for that 7 seed. I don't think they're going to make it, but I think there's going to be some promising things. And then obviously you have the Justin Fields, Garrett Wilson connection. They obviously lit it up at Ohio State, so that'll be fun to see. I'm an Ohio State fan, so that'll be fun to kind of watch be reunited once again. The Jets are going to be an interesting team this year. I think they'll be a fun team to watch. I think they're going to show some flashes, and I think going into next season, there's going to be a lot of excitement around the Jets. And then obviously that leaves the Buffalo Bills number one. That's an easy one. Bills are going to make the playoffs. I think there's, I haven't decided completely, but I think that I could see them being the 1 seed this year. Josh Allen's coming off an MVP season. Their roster is super, super loaded, and I just think when you have the quarterback that's probably been the best quarterback in the league in the regular season over the last 2 to 3 years. There's an argument for Mahomes, obviously, an argument for Lamar. I think Josh has just been very, 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 very elite over these last couple of years. The team's going to be good, right? He's cut down on the turnovers and the silly kind of Brett Favre type plays that we saw early in his career, and that makes him just such a dangerous threat. And we know how good this team is. They're going to win anywhere between 11 to 14 games, and it's pretty self-explanatory, right? They are going to be a contender when as long as Josh stays healthy, they're going to be one of the best teams in the league. And so at number 4, I have the Miami Dolphins finishing last in the division, the New England Patriots finishing third, the New York Jets finishing second, and the Buffalo Bills winning the AFC East. So that concludes the first day of predictions. What do you guys think? Do you agree with me? Am I crazy? What's my craziest take for today? What's one that what's a hot take that maybe you guys have that I don't have? I'd be curious to know. As always, I appreciate all of your support. It's gonna be a really, really fun year. I'm super, super excited for this season, for the channel, just for so many things, right? We got so many things to look forward to as fans of the NFL. And no matter your team, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. This is a Bears-focused podcast, but I talk NFL, all teams. And hit that like button if you enjoy the content. It really helps me know that you guys are enjoying the content, and it means a lot to me, and it allows me to keep on doing this. And thank you guys for all your support, and we'll see you guys in tomorrow's prediction video. Peace.